Now here's a number that should terrify you. 42% of Airbnb hosts who were highly profitable in 2023 are now currently losing money. If you think 2025 was tough, wait until you see what's coming in 2026. Now in the next 10 minutes, I am going to show you exactly 7 changes that are about to happen and hit the short-term renter market in 2026, and more importantly, how to position yourself on the winning side of each one. Hey everyone, Piers BK here, and welcome back to another Grow Airbnb video. Now look, I've been working with 6,000 properties globally for the past 8 years, and I can tell you absolutely certainly that the Airbnb game you've been playing is about to change completely. And here's the thing, the change creates 2 types of people: those who see it coming and you adapt to it, and those who get absolutely crushed by it. And the difference between those 2 groups isn't luck, it's not capital, and it's definitely not even experience. It's just simply having the right information at the right time. In this video, I'm going to break down 7 critical changes coming in 2026. Now, some of this you might have even heard whisper about, and others are gonna absolutely blow your mind. But by the end of this video, you will know exactly what to do about each one. And if you are serious, not just surviving, but actually thriving in 2026, stick around, because the change number 5 is the one that's gonna separate the amateurs from the professionals. Now let's start with the big one. The Airbnb algorithm is getting completely overhauled, and it's already starting to roll out in the tests in the markets. Now here's what's happening. Airbnb is moving away from primarily what was a price-based ranking system to what they now call guest satisfaction prediction model. But here's what it actually means for you. Instead of just looking at your pricing and response time and basic reviews, the algorithm is now looking at probably over like 200 data points before they actually make a decision. So things like, you're gonna think, how long is guest gonna stay after booking with you? Whether if they're gonna book like an additional night, because not everybody's going to book an additional night, but it makes a huge difference. The sentiment of your reviews, not just like the star rating, they're going to look at a couple of keywords. Now eventually those words used in the private feedbacks are generally what's going to make a huge difference on the back-end Airbnb's algorithm. Now I've seen it firsthand with our clients. In the last month, we had a host in Manchester property with over like 4.9 star and good pricing, and their booking dropped by like 30% seemingly overnight. And I was thinking like, and even my clients was thinking, why? Because the guests that leave in reviews, things like exactly what they said was like, it's a nice place. Technically it is a positive review, but as an algorithm, they just think it's a review. Now that's a survival strategy. You need to absolutely engineer experiences that creates like emotional response to your business, right? So if they're gonna say, hey, look, I loved the property, versus, hey, that property was amazing because of this, this, and this, that is the wow factor that the reviews will get you. But not only that, they're also going to add you to that personalized ranking, which Airbnb is currently looking at. So think about this way, every guest behavior are different. Like for example, business travelers, you need to make sure you've got a premium coffee machine. They love that. Or a desk space. Or versus a family that's going to do local activity, do you make sure you keep a guide for them? It's everything you need to understand that gives your booking go up by up to 40%, just because the fact that your clients have given more specific review rather than just like a simple one which says, hey, love the property and that's it. Now 3 months later, bookings are up by like 40% with the same pricing strategy, just because the reviews says things like went above and beyond, can't wait to come back and stay in this property again, or we've got a yearly trip that's going to come out. And that's what the algorithm is literally looking for right now. Right, the change number 2 is the one that is literally going to catch people off guard. Now, between now and the end of 2026, or even if this video goes out early 2026, over 150 cities globally, they're implementing a short-term rental regulation. Now, what does that mean? We're basically talking about just registration requirement, They're going to put probably even occupancy caps, probably minimum night stay rules, and in some cases, which is even sad to see, completely ban in certain areas. Edinburgh just announced a licensing scheme kick, and that's going to go fully live in April 2026. London boroughs, as you're probably aware, they've already got 90 days rule, but they are going to roll out some kind of registration by 2026, like mid 2026. And then places like Manchester, Bristol, Birmingham, they're all going to follow the same process. Now, here's the kicker. The fines are just no longer fines anymore. Like, we're seeing properties hit with closure orders, hosts are currently being blacklisted from platforms, and even landlords are terminating the lease. Now, I worked with a client last month who had 3 properties in Edinburgh, right? Beautiful service apartments, doing over, I think, from what I remember, over 15k a month in revenue, and they ignored the licensing warning. And because of that code, everyone else is doing it. Like, nobody's caring. Like, you heard that in London all the time. Oh, that person's not doing that license, why should I? The council will shut them down in Jan. And not only that, you've lost 45k in revenue, like setup cost, you have to break the lease, and now you can't operate in Edinburgh for the next 5 years because they've banned you as an operator. But look, here is the thing, and it's very crucial for me, that regulation isn't just an enemy. It's actually, if you look at in a hindsight, it's going to drop down any of your competition because you're doing it correctly. And also, if you think about, because of like 60 to 70% of current hosts aren't going to comply anyway, because I've seen that in London, they're either going to get themselves shut down or they've got to exit the market because there's so much to do. So look, there's a survival strategy, which is you need to get ahead right now. Go into council website, find out the registration process, understand how the licensing work, because if you apply for them right now, even if the deadline is like literally months away, because you're processing them on time, and I don't know if you know, but like HMO had like a grandfather's right, you're probably not going to panic closer to time when you're creating that application. And as a result of that, the compliance becomes more of a marketing tool for you, because the listing will say something like you're fully licensed and registered, and you're going to see an uplift of 20 to 25% just by doing that, because guests want that reassurance. Change number 3 is going to hurt a lot of people, but also it's going to create massive opportunities if you position yourself correctly. Now, as we know, in the UK, the rent-to-rent model is completely dying, and anyone can say anything, but I remember in 2018, it was a completely different ball game. Like IKEA furniture, platforms were crazy, but it's not completely dead, but the margins are what used to be very attractive are no longer as attractive. Here's why. Landlords are waking up. 5 years ago, you could approach a landlord and literally offer them like 20% above market rent, and they would bite your hands off because they didn't understand short-term rental, right? Now, every single landlord and their dog knows about Airbnb and short-term rental, especially in the UK. Now, they've done the maths, and increasingly they say, why would I let you make £3,000 from a property when I could just do it myself? And that's the mindset for a lot of landlords right now. Plus, with all of this regulation coming in, landlords are getting very nervous about, the changes, the liability insurance, and insurance companies are also excluding short-term rental coverage unless you go for like very specific ones, right? And especially in the UK, again, I've said it again, and I will say this, most operators are working against the lender because mortgage lenders are getting very strict about what they allow. So I've got a client who's been doing rent-to-rent for, I think, past 3 years, and she had like 8 properties when she worked with me. And she reached out to me recently about a different model, and in the last 6 months, she mentioned that she lost 4 of them, and it was not to do with her performance, but just because one of the landlord had 2 property, and they just wanted to do it themselves. And also the other 2, the mortgage went so up that they just didn't find that the changes, the regulation was gonna meet the standard, and obviously being legal, right? You can say landlord, hey, by the way, have you checked your but it's not gonna work. And this is why, guys, here's the opportunity. The model isn't dead, but it is very evolving. The new kind of arbitrage model, you've probably seen it in my channel, is either being a co-host or being a professional management company rather than just a middleman. And look, there is a survival strategy. Now you need to firstly start positioning yourself as an expert who knows how to handle all the problem in short-term rental, because you've done it in your property already. You are not just renting their property, you are providing them a full key turnkey compliance service. So that means at later down the line, you're going to handle all the licensing, the insurance, the guest management. There's going to be regular updates on reporting and legals. But look, you've got a thing. We are currently helping clients restructure from just like an rent-to-rent model to most of my clients today get their pages that literally, after building a brand, they're now really making sure that they understand how to get booking. So all of a sudden, instead of just paying like 2.5k on a rent on a property that does £4,000 on a revenue, let's say for example, you're now taking anywhere between 15 to 20% on management fee on that gross revenue. So all of a sudden, that landlord who wants to do Airbnb, now you've given them the option. The landlord's risk has gone down because they understand you're the professional, and actually your profit stays pretty similar because you're adding no expenses but just income. So look, at the end of the day, you are building a real asset as a management company with contracts and not just a legal agreement that can end anytime. Right, now change number 4 is where things gets very interesting because this is actually fun. The basic Airbnb listing is completely dead. Now, when I think about a listing and it hasn't got much going on, you are literally, look, I don't care if you've got a nice photo place with like amazing photos and, you know, like the setup's amazing. That's not enough right now, by the way, in 2026. You probably aren't going to compete with hosts who are creating like absolutely full-on experiences. And if you're not playing that same game, you're going to be literally invisible on the searches. Now, I've got this experience. I've traveled like probably 7 times this year with booking different Airbnb, and I wasn't booking just the place. Now, when I started in 2018, if you've had like a 2-bed, like a decent 2-bed near city center with an IKEA furniture, a clean sheet, you would get booked. I remember sharing this, like, you know, if you go back to my post from 2018, like we landed like a $4,000 1-bedroom apartment, and we made like, you know, that was an IKEA furniture. There is so much happening right now in our industry that the guests aren't just booking properties anymore. They're literally booking experiences. They're definitely booking for memories. Now, I see hosts who are absolutely crushing it, by the way, in like niching down on certain things, but really, really good. Like, I'll give you an example, very weird, but it works. We've got a client like in Lake District, and instead of everything to everyone, they went all in. Like, it's a great place, by the way, in summer. Like, you're going to make money because a lot of people are going to go there, but he needed to find out a winter strategy. So he focused on like remote work market and make sure they put like strong internet. He had like Herman Miller chairs, like multiple monitor available, soundproofing, like they had professional lights for, I think like for Zoom calls. And all of a sudden, that's what it's all about. Like creating a perfect environment where you can go and charge probably 30% more, because not only the reason why they wanted to do that was they wanted to come out of this Lake District tourism summer only place to actually, by attracting the right maybe CEO's family and stuff, they actually had something really different. So that is why it's so important to create experiences. Now, you look, if you've got a property right now which is basic and it's literally got an amazing photo, got the best feature wall and stuff, but you do not have an experience planned on that property, you are currently missing massive, massive opportunity. So the survival strategy is you need to pick your own lane and absolutely own it in your investment area. Now, stop trying to appeal everyone, because it's not going to happen. Usually in the UK, I see this. You know, if you're working with contractor, you need to get a zip and link bed. And look, you need to forget about racing to the bottom price, because that's what's going to cost you a lot of money, right? So ask yourself, look, what experience am I selling? What amenities do I have that's going to give someone like a great experience? And think about then engineer every single detail around experience. The host that's going to figure this out, by the way, are going to absolutely command premium pricing while everyone's fighting for that, you know, lower rate, bargain hunters who are going to try and slash your price down. Change number 5, and this is one that most hosts are completely sleeping on. Now, Airbnb obviously have always got got the market share, guys. That's never going to go away, but they are obviously taking you there for a reason. Booking.com, exactly the same thing. There's a reason why they want you to use this platform. But look, we've seen a different change. Things like Plum Guide and Sonder, I don't know if you've heard of them, are taking serious market share. And I love this, by the way, because here's why this matters. Platform diversification is going from optional to being essential. What this basically means is, why not leverage as many places as possible, right? And what I'm seeing right now in the data from like our clients, hosts who are absolutely relying on Airbnb, are seeing occupancy rates from like probably 15 to 20% lower than the hosts who use absolutely multi-platforms. Now, I've got to say, this involves your own direct booking. And if you understand guest behavior, it's changing. People are now comparing price across platform. They look at Airbnb and they know nowadays they can go and look at booking.com. So especially if it's a longer term stay, higher value bookings, right? So here's the things, guys. Most people have multi-platforms. What they need to think about is, by listing on different side, that actually not only increases your market share. So you've seen, like, for example, Verbo in the US market is amazing, by the way. I've worked with clients in US and their guest behavior is Verbo rather than booking.com. So by having that kind of understanding of the list of guest behavior, and then you thinking, okay, let me start thinking of adding those platforms into your portfolio. However, managing your calendar is very, very important. So as a result of this, obviously making sure that you have a right channel manager that helps you sync your calendar is important, because you do not want to get double booked. But also, you are going to get a lot of last minute cancellations. You need to make sure you understand how to cover them. So your survival strategy would be like, you need to get a proper calendar management software. So, channel manager, make sure that you understand you've got a full syncing manual. And more importantly, yes, and it costs money, by the way. And we're talking like maybe anywhere between 30 to 50 pound per property, but depending on which channel manager you go, they're going to link you up with as many platforms as possible. So here is the map. If being on multiple platform increases your occupancy rate by even like 10%, let's say for argument's sake, on a property that's doing, let's say, for £3,000 a month, that 10% of booking through Verbo, Expedia, hotels.com is going to add you another £300 on revenue. Bearing in mind, there is so much you can do with direct booking. Something that I talk about on Grow Airbnb all the time, and we do this for our clients, is we understand algorithm, we understand guest behavior, we understand the length of stay, we understand the lead time, and all of this thing come together is what's going to get your calendar filled. But also, more importantly, that's how you've got to add streams of revenue into your business. Change number 6, if you are still manually messaging guests, which I've seen it, by the way, 80% of small hosts, you are already behind. Now, what does this mean? The hosts who are scaling successfully in 2026 are the ones who are automating 80% of their operations. Now, I know I've given kind of guest communication as a basic information, and if you're watching this and you've already got this, I understand that, but there's other things in the business. Like, for example, no, I haven't seen anyone who does pre-arrival message, post-arrival message for reviews. There's so many things we're talking right now with intelligent automation that actually improves your guest experience while you being free up. Because at the end of the day, guys, when you're building this business, you want to make sure you have the right messaging tool. You want to make sure you have the right pricing tool, because at the end of the day, those automation could do certain things, but you can manually also do it, which generally, for me, with automation and manual kind of guidance on rule set and pricing, you're going to understand your guest type better than that software. You're going to understand your booking length and time and when they're going to arrive. All of these things can be easily changed based on how you're going to manage your account. So if you're using Price Lab or Wheelhouse, there's a lot of things that you can automate. So look, I've got a client right now who's got, I think, about 15 properties. They do everything themselves. How? Because they do automate everything. Like, literally, when I say everything, they've got everything automated. But the problem here I found was, with the marketing side of business, you can't automate that. That needs manual workflow. So one of the things I told him was, you don't need, right now, you do not need someone to look after your guest comms, your like, they're all automated. Let's focus on getting somebody for 5 hours a day who can literally look after revenue generating tasks, right? What does that look like? Filling up the calendar, gaps are looked at, pricing rule set, minimum night stays, longer term ranking, direct booking ranking, website working. All of a sudden, not only that, my clients have now bought back over 5 hours of their day because somebody else is coming in and doing it for them. So look, this is the survival strategy. Start automating one system at a time, because people do confuse themselves and try and do everything at once. By the way, I totally understand, can be overwhelming and can be expensive, especially if you're not used to investing money into the business. I've seen it with our clients. They don't mind paying £3,000 on commission, but then they don't want to spend £100 on some automated software. And I'm like, look, that's the mindset, because you're thinking Airbnb's charging you that on back of getting you customers, but you could still save that money and do it somewhere else. So look, build your automation stack over the next 6 to 12 months. And the host who resists automation just because they think that you can do everything yourself, they're going to have a lot of challenges, and they are absolutely going to work 60 hours or more for the return that you're going to make into your business, right? While I guess your competitions would probably be sitting right now and doing 20 hours of work and actually making as much or maybe even more profit. So change number 7, guys, is the professionalism of hosting. Right, now the final change, and this is the one that ties everything else together. Now, short-term rental hosting is no longer, I remember this again back into 2018, my estate agency business, we had a side hustle. That was it. It was literally, let's add some extra service and let's see what happens. Whereas now it's a full-blown professional business. Like, if you're treating this like a hobby, you are going to get results like your hobby. Now, here's what I mean. The days of like you just winging it and trying to figure it out as I go are literally over. The hosts that are currently succeeding, and I've seen it, are treating it like a proper business. And recently I've been working with clients to automate their marketing side of the business, because I believe that if we automate that, you're going to make more money, because the more property is booked, or if we're filling up, let's say 2 nights for you in the middle of the month, and it happens like, let's say over the course of 16, out of 52 weeks, 16 weeks, it makes a huge difference on your bottom line margin. Like that could be like £100, £200 a week, even like up to £3,000 on revenue. So I think what you've got to think is you've got to start thinking about managing your inventory, making sure that you understand how your properties work, making sure you look at your consistent competition. But look, people who start short-term renter business with no training, or generally done one course with no system, no strategies, then they wonder why they're struggling. And for me, it's not just about investing when you first start, because business is always evolving. And I see a pattern, right? It's that constantly that someone's getting into hosting because they've heard that they can make a passive income. They do zero market research. And for me, like, you're skipping the most boring part, but you're skipping the most important part, because understanding your break-even point, you need to stress about how the numbers work, because 6 months later, when you start losing money, you start blaming the market, and you're going to say, well, my property is really good. It's the market's that's too busy, or it's not working. So meanwhile, like a professional host, they have a good system in place, right? They're building like proper business, by the way. They are treating every property like a product, and that needs to be marketed properly. That needs to be done properly with customer acquisition. They need to understand what is it costing them to get a customer. They also are then thinking, where can I save that cost and spend less money and actually add more clients to the business, right? They have SOP for pretty much every single operation in the business. So look, this is the survival strategy I want to go through. Decide right now whether you're going to be a professional host or you want to be an amateur. Because if you want to be a professional host, like, you've got to make some strong decision for your market. And if you don't make it yourself, you need to go and find some help, because at the end of the day, it's very easy to say, I'm going to try and figure it out myself. And if you're going to be like a professional host, that means investing on people, systems, processes. It means joining communities, finding other professional hosts that are smashing it and asking them the question. It means tracking your number. By the way, this is something that 90% of people don't do. And it also means that there is some good news. The professionalism and the industry itself is still pushing away. And I can pretty much see this happening with our clients. They're taking away all the amateur hosts because they can't survive. They're completely winging it. And if you commit to being like absolutely professional, to actually treating this as a proper business, you're going to have less competition, you're going to have more opportunity, and you're going to be the best you can ever be with this business. So there you have it. There are 7 changes that are going to define 2026 in the short-term rental market. Now, let me just recap you quickly. Number 1 is the algorithm that's rewarding experience over being cheap. Number 2, it's regulations are coming in and compliance is going to be the most competitive advantage for you. Number 3, rent to rent is evolving. I'm so excited for this. It's going into professional management. Number 4, you need to niche down and really create experiences. Number 5, platforms diversification isn't an optional anymore. You need to not only build your direct booking, guys, when I say you need to lead it, you have to lead it. Number 6, automation is separating successful hosts from everyone else. And lastly, number 7, you've got to become a professional host. That is the only path forward. Now, look, I know this all sounds like a lot, and maybe you're sitting there thinking, Piers, I'm already overwhelmed, because I do that a lot with my business when I watch videos and stuff. But how am I supposed to implement this and all of that? And you kind of get lost. Look, here is the truth. You don't have to do everything tomorrow, but you do need to start somewhere. Now, pick one of the 7 changes and commit to doing it every single day without fail, addressing the problem. And look, just one. Like, that will make a huge difference. And look, if you want help figuring out where to start based on your specific situation, drop a comment saying, check my strategy, and my team will reach out to you and give you a free analysis and audit of where you should start focusing first. Look, I also post daily breakdowns of exactly how our clients are implementing these strategies on my socials, both on Instagram and Facebook. So you can type in Grow BNB on Instagram, Piers BK on my personal one. There's, I generally share real data, real numbers, real results. You can go in and check every single day. I'm posting results for our clients. Look, 2026 is going to separate the host who's going to adapt from the host who's going to get left behind. The question is, which group are you going to be in? Look, if you found this video helpful, please make sure you hit that like and subscribe if you haven't yet, and drop me a comment letting me know which of this strategy is, or changes you are most worried about, because every change comes with excitement and delivery, right? And we've seen it again and again in our clients. You can make it work. So guys, thank you so much for watching another Grow BNB video, and I'll be back with another video soon.